first I want to talk about, and I tried to pick some stuff that maybe still had some intrigue to it here. And looking at the Pacific Division odds, and this was going into yesterday's action, obviously no Calgary or Vancouver on here. No need to waste our time with those long shots to win the division. Vegas still a favorite here at minus 180. Edmonton second at 5-1. Anaheim set plus 750. The Kings 9-1. Kraken 25-1. Sharks 45-1. No interest in the Sharks for the division, maybe to make the playoffs. No interest in the Kraken for the division, maybe to make the playoffs. But I think reality will set in for them down the stretch, and they'll kind of fall down in the standings a bit. Kings, no Kevin Fiala. That even if you were thinking maybe that, I know they got Panarin in there, but Panarin was supposed to be in addition to what they have, and now it's kind of like, okay, he kind of just takes the spot that Fiala's leaving behind to a degree. Do you look at an Edmonton or an Anaheim to maybe steal the division, or is Vegas just kind of like, look at what Vegas did last night without half their roster? They still don't want to beat the Kings. Is it a foregone conclusion they're winning the Pacific, or do we maybe Edmonton or Anaheim makes a run?
Here's the thing, though. Like, everything about the just Vegas in general, they're not a great team. They're just the least terrible of the gang. Like, it is what it is. They're the least terrible. I will say this, though. I get that it's like they're right there, right? The Ducks are 5 points behind. It's like they have the I don't even want to say the best goaltending out of, between Aiden Hill, Jerry, like those all can do a spot. And the problem is Anaheim is just so inconsistent. They go on this run and then they are absolutely terrible. Seattle is also right there, but they're just like, they're frauds. That team's not they're not a real hockey team. The Kings can't score. It doesn't matter who they bring in. That system that they have in place, great defensively, can't score. I want to believe that San Jose can. They just, again, the goaltending is just not consistent enough. I would take a small shot at the Ducks, though. They have the better goaltending. The defense, can maybe hold up. They just got to find a little bit of consistency.
Vegas has won the Pacific Division in 2025, 2023, and 2021 and 2018. So no strangers there. Edmonton has not won the division since it became a Pacific Division. And Anaheim Ducks haven't won it since 2017, but they won the division 5 times in a row during that run. I don't know if I trust Edmonton to win the division, but Anaheim, the problem I have with them is they're streaky. They'll be dominant for 10 games, and then they'll look awful for 6 games. So if they can balance that out a little bit, maybe they can close that gap. I still think it's Vegas to lose. Looking at I want to see how many head-to-heads we have in the Vegas schedule to see how many.
They were still. Did Leo Carlson play yesterday?
He came back in the lineup last night. I think he had a goal to assist. So
you know what I mean? Like they have the pieces. I think Leo Carlson getting hurt kind of didn't help them off. If not, they're a young team that can do something, right? They're capable of it, right?
Now, Vegas has 3 meetings with Edmonton left. They are all done with the Ducks, it looks like, as I'm going through their schedule here.
I would put, like, to me, I feel like it's the Ducks. If they're healthy, they have enough leadership, they have enough skill on the ice to do it. Again, if I had to pick a goalie out of those 3 teams on the left, it's Dostal. That's the guy. That's the guy who gives it the best chance. So again, and I mean, listen, I watched the Edmonton Oilers play yesterday. Defensively, it's just a struggle. It's not good.
I'll say this: Vegas probably still wins the division. If I had to pick between Edmonton or Anaheim, I'd take Anaheim. But Vegas has not beaten the Ducks at all this year. They are 0-1-2 against Anaheim. So that maybe is somebody they don't want to see in the second round. Maybe they hope Edmonton can take care of business against Anaheim in the first round. We'll see how the Pacific shakes out there, but 3 teams on your left is the way to go. The next future I want to discuss, Hart Trophy odds. And yes, it's Nate McKinnon minus 240. Next up is Macklin Celebrini plus 420, Nikita Kucherov plus 650, Connor McDavid plus 850. Another thing I saw was McKinnon is You want to take McKinnon at minus 240, that's fine. You could take him at minus 240 or the field at plus 178 if you wanted to just kind of combine those others. Is McKinnon, if he stays healthy and continues to play the way he normally plays, is he winning the Hart Trophy? Or is this a situation where if the Sharks find their way into the playoffs and Celebrini keeps producing it the way he is this the best number we're going to get on Macklin the rest of the way?
I do think that's the best number we'll probably get. It's unfortunate that because I don't believe the Sharks have to make the playoffs in order for him to get it. It's just he is like just so much better than the rest of his team in terms of production, right? Like the Sharks are flirting with a lottery pick if Celebrity's not on that team. Right?
Flirting. No, they are in bed with a lottery pick without celebrating.
They're right in it. You know what I mean? And I mean, Nathan McKinnon has been dominant all year. He has been dominant, and it's crazy that he hasn't won it. And then on the other side, I mean, Nikita Kucherov just
keeps going.
The man is unstoppable. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have gone through some injuries, right? Like they've been without Braden Point. You know, Cirelli got hurt. They were without Victor Hedman, but Nikita Kucherov is there, and he had a really slow start to the year. It was not good, and now he is just taken off. He is the straw that stirs that drink. The Tampa Bay Lightning go as far as he goes, and he elevates everybody's game. Like there are players on that team that are having a career year, and Nikita Kucherov is a massive part of that. So I would probably I would sprinkle a little bit on Macklin Celebrini and Nikita Kucherov because I feel like those odds are just they're too far away from what McKinnon has done. And I don't want to say the Colorado Avalanche would still be a very good hockey team if McKinnon missed like an extended period of time, but I don't think the drop off would be as big. And that's no disrespect to McKinnon. That's just how good the Colorado Avalanche are as a team, which I think, like, it's weird to say hurts his odds. You know what I mean? Like, that team is stacked, and we're looking at it, well, you know, if he wasn't there, it would make it would, but they wouldn't necessarily just collapse because, you know, they're so well structured.
I think McDavid is a victim of he just consistently produces so well that like his numbers are just like, yeah, whatever. Like you just take them for granted as good as they are. So the only way I think McDavid gets back in this conversation if he just goes on and it's possible because he's got to be super pissed off the way the last 3 years of last 2.5 years have gone for him. So maybe that sparks him to some ridiculous run to close the next 2 months here, and he vaults himself up towards the top of that. Now, just to illustrate your point and have some parallels there between Celebrini and Kucherov, Macklin Celebrini, 28 goals, 53 assists, is good for 81 points. Second on the team, Will Smith, 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. So a 42-point gap from first and second. Now, yes, Will Smith has missed 13 games this year. So fine, you want to give him another 6-7 points. He would have played. That's still a very large gap. You look at Tampa.
He's still set. Like Will Smith is still second on that team in scoring, having missed all that time. Like that's like it's Celebrini, and then it's the rest of those guys.
After that, it's Wenberg, Toffoli, and Eklund rounding out your top five. In Tampa Bay, it's a 34-point gap from Kucherov with 94 points to the second best on the team, Jake Gensel, 26 goals, 34 assists, 60 points. So Jake Gensel, Brandon Hagel, also Cirelli, Point when they're healthy, but it's Kucherov there. I think at this point, McKinnon is still probably, he would have to have a bad slump. But if Celebrini keeps playing this way, man, it's tough to ignore that, especially if they get into the playoffs. He's taken the league by storm. He only elevated his stock at the Olympics. Listen, I get that has nothing to do with the NHL Hart Trophy, but it's voted on by people. People watch the Olympics. That is going to be in their brains when they vote, even if you're supposed to separate that entirely.
Can't believe all three of those players formed a line on Team Canada, and somehow it didn't result in gold.
I didn't even think about that. You have it.
That's painful. But again, just for Celebrini, it's just the level that he's at the age that he is. He is carrying this team. They are not good defensively, right? San Jose. Their goaltending has been mediocre. I'm pretty sure the goal differential is -2, and yet here they are just flirting with hope. And if Celebrity wasn't in that lineup, there would be no hope. So the Hart Trophy is the most important player to his team. So I don't think the San Jose Sharks have to make the playoffs for him to win it. If they did, that would just solidify it. But like if he finishes easily with over like 100 points or something, like how can you say no to him?
I think they need to make the playoffs, but I will acquiesce on this one thing. As long as the Sharks are in the mix until like the last 2 games of the season, I think that's good enough. But if they fade and the last like handful of games, 5 or 6 games, it's kind of known they're out, then I don't know if he would get it at that point. I will say I'm excited to go Saturday. It's Sharks Oilers Saturday matinee. So I get to see a little Macklin versus McDavid on Saturday afternoon with a couple of buds. So looking forward to that trip down to the Shark Tank there. We got 2 more we want to get to before we get to our picks here. We're talking futures on this edition of Total Hockey Now. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Up next is the Norris Trophy here. And Zach Werenski, we all talk about, okay, it's Cale Makar's award to lose. Cale Makar's award. Oh, well, he's not the favorite right now. He's a little behind Werenski. Makar even money. Werenski -120. Quinn Hughes is at 18-1. Lane Hudson 40-1. Bouchard also 40-1. Moritz Seider, a guy that we talked about maybe being in the mix for the Norris earlier this year, down to 80-1 here. Werenski too, and we talked about what Celebrini did on the Olympic stage and that how that might factor into Olympic voters' head. Same thing with Werenski there. Not that Makar had a great tournament too. Don't get me wrong. Same thing with Quinn Hughes, but I feel like it's almost Werenski's. Like he's got to get one at some point. He's just guy's going to score north of 20 goals. One of the best defensemen in the league, and I know it's again Cale Makar, but I think if this is another one where I think if Columbus gets in the playoffs, you give it to Werenski.
Man, that's like it's tough. I have to believe they give it to Werenski just because if he does score a ridiculous amount of goals, that's what
he's got 20 already. So
he does, and
30 games to go.
Yeah. And that is elite for a defenseman, by the way. Like let's not twist this. That's beyond elite at this point. I think that dark horse there is Quinn Hughes. I don't think he's as far as like those two individuals. 18-1 is like I don't think there's a distinct separation between Werenski, Makar, and Hughes. I think the betting market has decided that more. We'll see how Hughes finishes out the season in Minnesota. Obviously, it wasn't great when he was in Vancouver. The team struggled. He was hurt a little bit. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. If I wanted to sprinkle something, it would be on Quinn Hughes. I don't think there's a ton of value in the other two, though. Like it's a 2-horse race there. But, Makar's total has been, again, he's been elite since he showed up in the NHL, basically taking it by storm. That even though he's putting up these great numbers, we're like, yeah, that's what we're used to. Right. And just the way Quinn Hughes plays, the defensive side of it is really, really good as well. I think that it shouldn't be 18-1. It should probably be closer. So that's where, to me, the maximum amount of value can be found.
I think what hurts him and why he's at 18-1 is, yes, he's extremely productive, but 3 goals, 31 assists. So that goal number very low, especially compared to Makar's 15 and Zach Werenski's 20 already on the season, 20 and 42 for Werenski. I think it's 15 and 43 for Makar. Yeah, 15 and 43 goals and assists for him. And here's another thing to factor in too. Matthew Schaefer is going to be on this list next year. He might creep his way into the top 6 before the end of the season, but he's a guy next year that's going to it might be a problem between Werenski, Makar, Hughes, and Schaefer. Only one of those guys will not be a semifinalist every year. The same way for years with the Selke, it was always Kopitar, Bergeron, and Datsuk. And it's like you really couldn't go wrong. We're going to have a similar situation here with ours. But to your point, there's not too much value on Werenski and Makar at this point if you're going to take a longer shot to look at Quinn Hughes for sure. But I think he's going to need to get some more pucks in the net if he surpassed those two.
First person in the comments, or if I read, say Evan Bouchard, you're banned.
Not even this year. Definitely not this year.
I don't care how many points he has. Watch him play defense. Cope.
I'm trying to see what the Schaefer odds here. If you really wanted to go crazy on that, as I'm trying to go down the list here. Let's see. Norris Trophy. Where's Matt? 300 to 1.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, we talk about teams making the playoffs. If Schaefer goes on a run, I mean, it would be really tough to surpass the 3 on the left of the screen there. So, yeah, there we go with the Norris Trophy. And last but not least, the Vezina, which I found very interesting. Ilya Sorokin, the favorite at -120. Andrei Vasilevsky at +110. Logan Thompson at 12 to 1. John Gibson 30 to 1. Brandon Bussey 40 to 1. Swayman at 71. If the Islanders get in the playoffs, yes, it's a big part because of Sorokin. But the way Vasilevsky's been playing this year has just been absurd. He's on a incredible 9-game run with the Lightning right now. You talk about Kucherov being important to that. Kucherov and Vasilevsky are the 2 cornerstones of that franchise right now. So if not a ton of value there, I mean, if we're looking for something a little more sexier and a long shot, it's not John Gibson because he's kind of come back down to earth over his last few starts. Talk about that in a little bit when we get to the Ottawa game and preview that. If Carolina keeps playing well and Bussy kind of, you know how those young goalies down the stretch, they get better. Sometimes they get better and better and better. People see that and Carolina runs away with the Metropolitan Division. I could see that. I don't know if Swayman at 70 to 1 makes sense, but yeah, Bussy or Vasilevsky would be my 2 on that list. See what the Islanders do the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's a long shot for Bussy. To think about it, the Edmonton Oilers could have had him for free, but that's not the path they wanted to go down. I just don't think Bussy starts enough games for it to make it count, which is unfortunate because the numbers he is putting up are video game like. They're just on a whole other level. And not to disregard anything that Vasilevsky has done. This is who he is, right? Like he is a future Hall of Famer. Ilya Sorokin has put up both the Islanders, by the way. Their goalies have saved them, I would say, because the Islanders' overall metrics are not very good. The Islanders' goals saved above expected for both their goalies is just through the roof, and Sorokin is a massive part of that. He is exactly the goalie we thought he was a couple of years ago. Last year was maybe a little bit of an off year. He seems to have found his game again. I do think Vasilevsky and not Vasilevsky. I do think Sorokin ends up winning it. I think that's the path most voters will go down. But if I wanted to sprinkle in some value, it's Bussy at 40 to 1, and I'm hoping Carolina just gives him more starts down the stretch. There's no reason for Freddie Anderson to be playing more than once a week.
So they have 5 back-to-backs the rest of the way, Carolina. If Freddie Anderson sees more than probably 7 or 8 starts, that's criminal. Because, like you said, video game numbers, 23-3-1 is his. 23-3-1 is his record. And I understand the team he has in front of him. That's insane.
He's still
23-3-1.
You still got to win, and you still got to put up numbers, right? Like, it doesn't matter what
percentage, 216 goals against.
That they're elite, and just the story behind it as well. Like, this guy was cleaned off waivers. You know what I mean?
I can see Carolina as they get down the stretch. Like, you don't want to overwork a young guy like that because you don't want him to hit that wall because a lot of these young goalies haven't played like 82 or plus game seasons in a long time. But man, and the other argument against Bussy would be if they have that much of a lead in the Metropolitan Division, I could see them, okay, let's keep you rested, let's keep you fresh. So that would be the argument against them. But if somebody starts to challenge them and maybe put a little heat on their heels, maybe they play him a little bit more. But yeah, Sorokin, Vasilevsky, Bussy. I don't see Logan Thompson getting it with the Capitals. Like I said, Gibson's coming back down to earth, and Swayman's too much of a long shot there. So going back through, we talked about the Vezina there. We talked about the Norris. We talked about the Hart Trophy, and we talked about the Pacific Division. So plenty of futures to get your fix right there.